Stranger signal near Saturn, a trap or a call for help? Jack Carter sat alone in his small space shuttle, floating silently near Saturn. The giant planet looked peaceful, its rings glowing softly in the distance. Jack was an engineer, not a soldier. He was there on a routine mission to fix a damaged satellite. Nothing more. He leaned back in his chair, sipping a warm drink. His eye assistant, Lexa, spoke in her calm voice. Satellite repairs complete, preparing for return to Earth orbit. Jack nodded. Good job, Lexa. Let's get out of here. But, just as the engines warmed up, a soft beep echoed through the control room. Beep, 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 a signal. Strange. It was weak and broken. Full of static. Jack raised an eyebrow. Lexa, identify source. Unknown. Origin. Drifting object. Approximate location 250 kilometers northeast. Signal contains patterns, possibly a distress call. Jack's heart began to race. This wasn't normal. Most ships use standard emergency signals, easily recognizable. This one sounded different. Almost like someone crying in the dark. He hesitated. Should we check it out? He asked aloud, more to himself than Lexa. Warning. Uncharted signal. High risk of pirate trap. Proceed with caution. Pirates. The word made Jack uneasy. Everyone in space knew the stories, ruthless gangs attacking small ships, stealing tech, leaving no survivors. But something about this signal felt desperate. Jack made his decision. Let's go take a look. We can't ignore someone who needs help. 15 minutes later, Jack's shuttle approached the source. Floating silently among the stars was an old ship, not Earth-made. Its surface was smooth, curved, with glowing lines running along its sides. Alien design. One side was damaged burn marks, deep scars like it had survived a recent attack. Lexa scanned it. Ship shows life support still active. One oxygen zone detected. Movement inside. Caution advised. Jack pulled on his helmet and activated his magnetic boots. As his shuttle locked onto the strange ship, the airlock hissed open. Cold air hit his face. The lights inside the alien ship flickered dimly. Like a haunted house in space. He stepped inside slowly. The hallway was narrow. The walls had strange symbols, glowing faintly. There was silence, heavy and eerie. Suddenly, a sound. Tap. Tap. Something or someone was moving ahead. Jack reached for his tool, a strong flashlight that doubled as a shock baton. Hello? He called. Is anyone here? I'm not here to hurt you. No response. Then, from the corner, something moved fast. A small figure dashed past too fast to see clearly. Jack spun around, light shaking in his hand. Lexa, how many? Life forms inside? 5, all small in size. Unknown species. No signs of aggression yet. Jack continued walking, heartbeat pounding. Finally, he reached a large room at the end of the corridor. The door opened with a soft hum. Inside were 5 alien figures, women, he realized slowly. Their skin shimmered faintly under the light, pale with soft purple and blue tones. They wore torn, elegant suits. Their eyes were wide, glowing slightly. Filled with fear, they backed away from him, one of them holding a glowing rod as a weapon. Jack raised both hands. Wait, I'm here to help. They said something. Their language strange and beautiful, but unknown. Jack activated his universal translator and held it out. The leader stepped forward, her voice calm but weak. The translator clicked, trying to understand. Escape. Pirates. They took the others. We? Hiding. Jack's eyes widened. Pirates? You were attacked? She nodded. Jack looked around. Now he could see the damage burn marks on the walls, broken wires, shattered tools. Why didn't you send a normal distress signal? He asked. The translator struggled. She spoke again. No time. Emergency beacon. Destroyed. We ran. Jack understood now. They weren't just lost. They were hunted. Don't worry, he said softly. You're safe now. I'll take you with me. But just then, Lex's voice spoke again. Warning. New object detected. Large ship approaching. Pirate markings confirmed. Estimated arrival. 14 minutes. Jack's face turned pale. They were not safe. Not yet. He turned to the alien women. We need to leave. Now. The leader nodded, and the group began to follow Jack back through the narrow corridors. But in his mind, Jack knew this was just the beginning. He had stepped into something far bigger than a routine mission. This was no ordinary rescue. And whoever these women were, someone powerful wanted them back. He had only one choice now: run and protect them, or face the pirates. The engines of Jack Carter's shuttle roared softly as it escaped the dead zone near Saturn. Inside the ship, everything felt tense and quiet, too quiet. 5 alien women sat in silence, their bodies shivering from cold and fear. Their eyes scanned everything: walls, lights, even Jack, as if they were ready to run at any moment. They had no weapons now. Just hope. Jack sat in the pilot's chair, but his eyes were not on the controls. They kept flicking to the mirror showing the back of the ship. They didn't trust him. Not yet, and he didn't blame them. One of the women, the one who seemed to lead them, stepped forward. Her skin was silver blue, her eyes glowing faintly like the moonlight on water. She placed her hand on her chest and said softly, Elira. The translator spoke. Name? Elira. Jack nodded. Jack, I'm just a human engineer. Elira tilted her head. Her expression was hard to read, part sadness, part curiosity. She sat across from Jack and opened a small device, a flat, glowing crystal pad. A hologram appeared, dozens of alien women dancing under purple skies. A tall city stood in the background, floating above the ocean. My home, Elira said, was called Aphelia. Jack stared. The place looked peaceful, almost like a dream. Elira touched the image. The sky turned black. The ocean caught fire. Dark ships rained down from above. People screamed. The floating city crashed into the sea. She said one word. Pirates. Jack felt a chill in his spine. Elira looked into his eyes. They came, not for land, but for us. Later, Jack took them to the lower deck, where he had basic food and blankets. The women ate slowly, carefully, like they hadn't had real food in days. One of them, the youngest, stared at the stars outside the window, her eyes filled with tears. She whispered something. The translator caught a few broken words. My sister. Taken, she screamed. I couldn't. The pain in her voice was real. Raw. Jack gently placed a hand on the wall beside her, keeping his distance. We'll find them, he said. He didn't know if it was true, but it was the only thing he could offer. That night, if you could call it night in space, Jack sat in his room, thinking. Lexa's voice broke the silence. They are not ordinary refugees. Their DNA contains unknown sequences. Energy levels in their bodies, unstable but advanced. Jack frowned. Are they dangerous? Not to you, but someone clearly thinks. They are valuable. Jack stared at the dark ceiling. He felt something building inside him. Not fear, not even anger. Responsibility. He never asked for this. But now, he was all they had. Suddenly, red lights flashed. Beep, beep, Lexa's voice turned sharp. Multiple signals approaching. Estimated time, 9 minutes. They found us again. Jack jumped to his feet. Evasive pattern. Full stealth mode. Too late to escape. Recommend hiding. Camouflage engaged. The shuttle slowed and drifted into the shadow of a nearby ice. Moon. The lights dimmed. Everything went silent. Through the window, a dark ship appeared. It was huge. Black metal, covered in glowing red lines like blood vessels. The pirate symbol was clear. A sharp skull, half machine, half alien. Inside the shuttle, nobody moved. Valera whispered something. The translator said, "That ship ... belongs to the Queen." Jack's voice was low. "Queen?" "Zarxa." Illyra said, "Leader of the Crimson Claw. She hunts us. Always." Jack swallowed hard. A queen. A space pirate queen. The enemy wasn't just some random gang. This was a powerful force. A real threat. The pirate ship hovered, scanning. For 5 minutes, nothing happened. Then it turned and flew away. The shuttle stayed hidden. Breathless, Jack finally exhaled. They're gone. But Illyra shook her head. "No," she whispered. "She will return." After the danger passed, Jack checked the ship's data logs. A question burned. In his mind, "Lexa," he said. "Why are they being hunted? What makes them so special?" Lexa paused. Then replied, "Illyra and her people are not just survivors. They are carriers. Carriers of what? A rare energy. Biosource technology inside them. Living power cells. Advanced and ancient. Some believe they could power an entire city. Others, a weapon." Jack looked back at the sleeping women. They weren't just running for their lives. They were being collected. As the ship drifted through the stars, Jack sat quietly. He looked out at space, then at the alien women who trusted him now just a little. He didn't know what would come next, but he made a silent promise. "No one's taking them. Not while I'm still breathing." Darkness surrounded the shuttle as it drifted silently near the edge of a dying star field. Inside, Jack Carter stared at the navigation screen. The radar was clean. Space was quiet. Too quiet. Lexa's voice broke the silence. "Shuttle repairs. 40% complete. Engine stabilizers offline. Cloaking field holding." Jack rubbed his eyes. "How long until we can jump out of here?" 27 minutes, he cursed under his breath. "That's too long." Behind him, the alien women sat close together, silent. They had stopped talking hours ago. Only Illyra remained awake, watching the stars like they held secrets. Then, the lights flickered, a low hum, a vibration in the floor. Jack froze. "Lexa?" "Number." "Answer." The screen went black. A moment later, red letters flashed. "Incoming signal UNAOT horizon." Then the ship's comms cracked open, and a voice like broken metal growled through the speakers. "Human shuttle. You are harboring stolen property. Surrender the cargo, or be destroyed." Illyra stood. Her hands trembled, but her voice was clear. "Zarxa, she found us." From the far side of the dark nebula, the pirate ship appeared like a ghost. Massive. Jagged. Covered in armor that looked stitched together from destroyed vessels. Long red lights lit up like a mouth ready to devour. Jack stared. "She's not bluffing," he muttered. "That ship could tear us apart," Lexa's voice returned. "Glitchy, but working. 1 minute until weapons lock. No jump drive. Shields." At 32%, Jack took a deep breath. He wasn't a soldier. He didn't have missiles, just a small engineer ship. With tools, but he had one thing the pirates didn't, a brain that never liked losing. "Lexa, open emergency cargo bay. Warning. Cargo arm not designed for combat." "Do it." He turned to Illyra and the others. "Strap in. It's going to get messy." As the pirate ship approached, charging its cannons, Jack spun the shuttle hard and dived toward a nearby asteroid cluster. Giant rocks, Floating in frozen silence, the pirates followed. Their sensors tracked his every move, but Jack knew this field. He had mapped it once during a mining contract. The rocks were unstable, filled with magnetic crystals that messed with scanners. He flew low, weaving between the asteroids. The pirate ship fired. Bright plasma beams lit the shadows. One shot grazed the shuttle system, sparked. Lights burst. Shields critical, Lexa warned. Jack smiled. That's fine. Time for a surprise. As the pirate ship closed in, Jack activated the cargo arm, normally used to move heavy tools in space. Now, it carried something else. A magnetic pulse mine. He dropped it behind a large asteroid. Just as the pirate ship turned the corner. Boom. The mine exploded with a shock wave, slamming the pirate ship sideways into a rock. A cloud of debris swallowed the scene. Inside the shuttle, everyone held their breath. Lexa reported, enemy engines damaged, radar offline. Their systems are blind, for now. Jack pumped his fist. That buys us a minute. But then the enemy comes opened again, this time, a different voice. Cold. Female. You're clever, human. But you've only delayed the end. Zarxa herself. Alira looked at Jack. She won't stop. Not until she has us. Jack looked at her, then at the stars. No, he said. She won't stop, so neither will I. He guided the shuttle deeper into the asteroid field, landing behind a large metal-rich rock. From there, he activated his ship's remaining tools, tiny laser cutters, usually used to mine ore. Today, they were weapons. The pirates sent small drones to search. Jack used the lasers to cut them apart, one by one. Silent. The alien women helped too, rerouting energy. Watching screens, warning him when movement approached. They weren't just passengers now. They were a crew. After 10 minutes of cat and mouse, the pirate ship stopped firing. They sent a final message. Zarxa's voice came through the radio like poison. Run, little engineer. Run while you can. But I will hunt you across every system. You cannot protect them forever. Then silence. The pirate ship pulled back, damaged but not defeated. Gone, for now. Jack slumped into his seat. Sweat covered his face. His hands shook, but he smiled. They had survived, just barely. Lexa spoke. Enemy ship retreating. Stealth mode restored. Systems stabilizing. Alira stepped forward. Her eyes were soft now. Grateful. You saved us. Again. Jack didn't answer. He just looked at the stars. He knew this wasn't over, but something inside him had changed. He was no longer just a mechanic in space. He was in a war, and he had just won the first battle. No. One spoke as Jack Carter's ship slipped into the edge of the Ghost Nebula. Outside, the stars disappeared. The universe, bright and endless just moments ago, became dark, filled with thick blue clouds and drifting shadows. The nebula seemed alive, like a sleeping monster breathing in slow silence. Even the ship's lights dimmed, as if the nebula swallowed brightness. Alira stood beside Jack, staring at the darkness through the glass. We were told never to enter this place, she said softly. Not even the pirates come here. Jack's hands hovered over the controls. Good, he replied. That means they won't follow us. Inside the shuttle, the temperature dropped. A strange hum filled the walls, low, constant, like something deep beneath the stars was whispering. Lexa's voice crackled. Warning. Gravity distortions detected. Magnetic interference rising. All navigation systems unreliable. Jack frowned. Can we still fly? Barely. He guided the ship forward through the blue mist. Strange lights flickered in the distant, shapes that came and vanished. Stars that moved when they shouldn't. At one point, they passed an ancient ship floating dead in space. Its hull was cracked open like a broken egg. Letters on the side. Side. USS Dauntless, lost 82 years. Aguilera's eyes widened. That ship is from before your time. Somehow, Jack muttered, it's still here. Hours passed, or maybe minutes. Time felt strange inside the nebula. Jack's crew didn't sleep, didn't speak. They just watched out the youngest alien. Woman Kale began to whisper to herself. Her hands shook. Her eyes blinked fast. I hear something, she said. Jack turned. What do you mean? I hear my sister's voice. But her sister was taken by pirates. She couldn't be here. Kale stood, walked to the window, and gasped. Look! Everyone turned. Outside. A girl floated, not in a suit. Just her. Body glowing softly in the dark. It was Kale's sister, but something was wrong. She was not breathing. Her eyes were open but hollow. Her mouth moved, but no sound came out. Alira pulled Kale back. It's not real. The image vanished. Gone like smoke. Lexa spoke again. Caution. Nebula generates memory-based illusions. Brainwave readings unstable. Crew experiencing psychological distortion. Jack gritted his teeth. We keep moving. Eyes forward. But even he felt it now. Memories. His father's voice. His mother's laugh. A woman's face. Someone he once loved. Long ago appearing in reflections. He blinked, cleared his mind, focused. Not real. Just the nebula playing tricks? Then they reached it. The eye of the ghost. A circular storm of glowing light in the center of the nebula, swirling like a portal. But not a door. More like a heart. It pulled on the ship like a tide. Lexa, engines full reverse, Jack shouted. I cannot resist the pull. Feel too strong. The ship moved on its own, dragged into the light. Then everything turned white. Suddenly, silence. The ship floated in a bright space, silent, glowing, endless. Time stopped. Systems froze. One by one, the crew collapsed, unconscious, except Alira. She stood alone in the center of the ship, her body glowing faintly. Her eyes closed. In her mind, she stood in an ancient hall, floating crystals, silver light. Voices echoing in song. An old figure appeared, made of energy. You carry the flame, it said. You are the key. The last of the Starborn. Protect the human. He will carry your fate. Then, light exploded. Alira gasped, awake. So did everyone else. The nebula was gone. The ship floated near a calm blue star system. Jack looked around. We're out? Lexa. Confirmed. You passed through the Ghost Nebula. No damage. All systems online. No known coordinates match current star system. They had crossed into uncharted space. Alira stepped beside Jack. Her eyes burned bright. Her voice full of meaning. We were meant to come here, she said. Jack looked at her. Why? Alira turned toward the stars. To unlock what was lost. And to end what was started. The stars were silent in this new part of space. The nebula was far behind them now. But something had changed. Inside the shuttle, the air felt heavier. Jack Carter could feel it. Not in the ship systems, but in the people, especially Alira. She stood alone in the observation bay, her silver blue skin glowing faintly, eyes locked on a single star. She hadn't spoken since the nebula. Not even to Kale. Jack walked in quietly. You okay? She didn't answer right away. Then, in a whisper, she's close. Jack frowned. Zarxa? Alira nodded. She always finds me. Lexa's voice crackled over the comm. Unknown vessel approaching at high speed. No identification codes. Shape matches Crimson Claw war-class cruiser. Jack ran to the control room. On the screen, a long black ship was cutting through space like a blade. It had sharp wings and blood-red lights. The symbol on its side was unmistakable. A skull with 3 jagged scars across its forehead dot the mark of the Pirate Queen. The shuttle shook slightly as a signal hit them. Not a weapon, a message. Lexa warned, incoming visual transmission. Jack hesitated. Put it on. The screen flickered. And there she was. ZAR single quotes XA. The Pirate Queen. She stood in a dark throne room. Her armor was like bone fused with steel. Her face half organic, half machine. One eye glowed red, scanning. Her voice, when it came, was both cold and personal. Hello, little engineer. I see you've made it through the nebula. Impressive. For a human. Jack narrowed his eyes. What do you want? She leaned forward. I want what you stole. 5 fugitives. One of them especially belongs to me. Zarxa lifted a metal hand and projected an old photo. 2 alien girls, young, smiling, dressed in white robes. One was clearly Illyra. The other, Jack stared. It was Zarxa, before the armor. Before the cybernetic eye. Before the war, Illyra stepped beside him. Her voice trembled. Sister, Zarxa smiled. Finally, a proper hello. Jack turned. She's your? Yes, Illyra said. Before she became ... Zarxa continued. They trained us together. But I saw the truth power was never meant to be hidden in crystals or temples. It was meant to be used. To rule. Her voice dropped. I will give you a choice, human. Turn her over. Or I will take her by force. Jack stepped forward. Not happening. Zarxa tilted her head. Then your name will be added to a long list of lost heroes. Their bones float in space. Yours will too. The signal cut. Lexa's voice returned. Pirate ship not attacking. Remaining at distance. Likely. Preparing for assault or reinforcements. Jack exhaled. We need a plan. Illyra placed her hand on the star map. There's a rebel outpost not far from here. Moon Epsilon. It's hidden, old, but safe. Jack nodded. Then we go. Before she makes her move. Before leaving, Illyra spoke to Jack in private. There's something I never told you. Jack looked at her. What is it? She opened her hand. A small light floated above it, glowing alive. This is the core. My power. Our people's last secret. Jack stared. You had this the whole time? I was trained to protect it. Zarxa was trained too. But she chose power over peace. If she takes it now, she could destroy worlds. Jack didn't hesitate. Then, we don't let her have it, ever. Illyra looked at him. Even if it means your life? He smiled slightly. I'm human. We're not great at giving up. As the ship turned toward Moon Epsilon, Illyra looked back at the dark space behind them. Her sister was out there, watching, waiting. But now, she wasn't just running. She was ready to fight. Moon Epsilon was not on any current star charts. It floated. Like a secret small gray, almost forgotten, its surface marked with the ruins of an ancient rebel station. Broken towers, half-buried solar dishes, and a bunker deep under the surface. It was the kind of place history tried to erase. Jack Carter brought the shuttle down carefully. The landing gear touched dust. Silence followed. Looks safe enough, he said. Lexa answered. No signs of life. Old defense systems offline. Structure stable. Air underground still breathable. Illyra stepped out behind him, her cloak flowing in the thin moonlight. The rest of the women followed, eyes alert, hands near their belts. This place was once a sanctuary, she said, before the pirates burned the sky. As they entered the bunker, the lights flickered to life, dim, golden, warm. Jack looked around. Rebel symbols were painted on the walls. Maps, notes, old gear. Forgotten lives. They found a control room. Jack got to work immediately. Lexa, bring the satellite grid online. If we're going to fight, I want eyes on the whole sky. Understood? Illyra stepped forward and placed her glowing crystal core into an ancient socket. The whole base hummed to life. Turrets rotated. Shields flickered on. Screens lit up. Systems that hadn't moved in decades began to breathe again. Moon Epsilon woke up, but time was short. An alert pings. Crimson Claw Fleet detected. 3 warships. Estimated arrival, 14 minutes. Jack's heart pounded. He looked around the dusty control room. Just a moon. Just one human. 5 alien survivors. Old weapons died, but giving up was not an option. He turned to the others. We hold them here. We give them nothing. We fight smart. Illyra nodded. And if we fail? Jack smiled grimly. Then we make them earn their victory. Preparation began. Jack rewired old missile batteries with Lexa's help. Illyra and the women spread across the station, reactivating old tech and defensive drones. Kale installed the core into the base's power grid. Everything glowed brighter. The air became electric. Power output rising. Shields at 98%. For the first time in days, they had a chance. Then the sky cracked open. 3 massive ships emerged from hyperspace, blocking the stars. Red beams scanned the surface. Zia Roxa's voice echoed across every speaker. You had your chance, human. Now you face the storm. The first shots came like thunder. Lasers slammed into the moon shield. The ground shook. Jack fired back, sending old missiles into the sky. 2 pirate drones exploded. Kale controlled a defense drone swarm fast and small like space bees, swarming pirate fighters. The base was holding, but only barely. 1 strike hit the control tower. Jack was thrown across the room. Blood on his lip. Sparks in the air. Lexa, report. Shields at 41%. Enemy warships landing troops on surface. They're coming in. Jack grabbed a rifle. He wasn't a soldier, but he was angry. As smoke filled the halls. He ran toward the entrance tunnel. Pirate soldiers in black armor stormed in, screaming war cries in alien tongues. Jack used mining lasers. Tripwires collapsing. Doors, everything he could. One by one, the pirates fell. But then a shadow entered. ZAR single quotes XA. Her armored boots echoed in the bunker. Her voice was cold. Step aside. Jack, this doesn't concern you anymore. But Jack didn't move. This concerns me, he said. Because you made it my problem. Zarxa raised a weapon. A pulse cannon. You can't protect her forever. Illyra's voice came from behind. I don't need protection. She stepped out, glowing brighter than ever. The core inside her pulsed. Zarxa stared at her sister. You don't even understand your gift. I understand enough, Illyra said, and I understand you died long ago. The 2 sisters raised their hands, one powered by ancient light, the other by cold machines. They charged. The blast shook the bunker. Light and shadow collided. Walls cracked. Sparks flew. Jack shielded Kale and the others as energy storms ripped through the room. When the light faded, Illyra was on her knees. Zarxa stood over her, smoking, damaged. But alive, I told you, she said. You can't win. But then she dropped her weapon, looked down at her sister. And for a second, just a second, her red eye flickered. Old memories. A childhood. Laughter, stars, family. Illyra whispered, You don't have to be this. Zarxa looked away. And walked. She disappeared into the shadows, taking her broken army with her. The battle was over, not because they destroyed the enemy, but because they reached something deeper. Moon. Epsilon stood, scarred, but standing. Jack sat outside the bunker, watching the sun rise on a quiet moon. Illyra sat beside him. Thank you, she said. He smiled. I should thank you. You powered the place. She looked at him. No, you powered us. Space was calm. It had been 2 weeks since the final battle on Moon Epsilon. The damage was repaired. The enemy was gone, but inside Jack Carter, the war still echoed. He stood alone at the edge of a platform floating high above a golden city. Twin suns shined above. Alien banners waved gently in the wind. And 1,000 faces, human and alien, watched him in silence. The Galactic Unity Council had called him here, and he had no idea why. He shifted uncomfortably in his clean new uniform. He wasn't used to this. He was a mechanic, a builder. Not a soldier, not a hero. But today, things were different. A tall alien stepped forward, his face ancient, his robe filled with golden lines that shimmered like starlight. He raised his voice so the entire plaza could hear. Jack Carter of Earth, you were never trained for war. You carried no crown, no weapon of power. He paused, and yet, you faced the Pirate Queen. You protected the last of a lost race. You crossed the Ghost Nebula, and you chose courage over comfort, kindness over fear. Jack looked down, embarrassed, but Alira stood nearby, watching with pride. The elder continued, for actions beyond duty, beyond species, beyond war, the Galactic Council presents you with the Star of Unity. He held out a glowing metal symbol, but radiant. It pulsed like a heartbeat as it touched Jack's chest. The crowd rose. Cheers filled the sky. Wings flew. Lights danced. But Jack didn't hear any of it. He was staring at Alira and remembering how it all started. Later, away from the ceremony, they sat under a silver tree. The stars above them twinkled like memories. Jack turned to Alira. So, what happens now? She smiled softly. The core is safe. My people will return. The galaxy is watching. But most of all, she looked at him. You go home. He looked down. And leave all this behind? She reached over and placed something in his hand. A small stone. Smooth, warm, marked with a star and a flame. It's a call stone, she said. Wherever you are in the universe, press it once and we'll come. He stared at it. Then smiled. Back on his shuttle, Lexa's voice returned. Calm as ever. Course plotted to Earth. Ready when you are. Jack sat in the pilot seat. He looked at the metal on the console, the call stone in his hand, and then at the stars one last time. He had left Earth and nobody. Now, he was a story. A legend. The man who saved alien women from space pirates and never asked for anything in return. Whispered, let's go home. The ship jumped. The stars stretched. And the legend of Jack Carter flew into history.